and I stood up, and had I turned left, I would have gone to, I would have had an abortion in a matter of minutes. But God pulled me out, and so I turned right, and my baby is now 32 years old.
Before we continue, please help the algorithm boost our reporting that asks the questions others won't by liking this video, clicking subscribe, and turning on all notifications. Thanks for supporting the Daily Signal. Now back to the video.
Well, it is my privilege today to be sitting down with Nelly Roach. She serves as the founder and president of Choose Life Marketing. And Nelly, you have such a powerful story of what took you in to this business of working around promoting pro-life organizations and being in that field of pro-life marketing. So I'd love to start with your story. Did you grow up in a pro-life home?
I did. I actually grew up in a very Catholic home, and Christ was instilled in our hearts very, very early on. So yeah, I mean, the my story was not is not without religion. It actually is. It started in a home that was full of God and Jesus, and it was a wonderful childhood, actually.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Really powerful. And it was 18, you were 18, correct, when you learned that you were pregnant?
So yes, I was born on a very tiny island, just about it's in the Pacific Ocean, and although 98% of our island is Catholic to this day, it's a very pro-life country. And then my family or our clan said, we want a better life for our people. So basically, we moved to the United States so that I could have better education. In our world, or in our traditions, in our culture, we were just really raised to go back and help our people. That was just a big responsibility that anyone that left the island could come back and improve the island. So I find myself right in smack in the middle of the great United States in Missouri, and also found myself pregnant at age actually 17. And I gave birth to my son when I was 18, but definitely 17, pregnant and scared, and found myself in an abortion clinic, a Planned Parenthood here in town. And I found myself there, as many people find themselves, in a place where they don't feel that they have any options. And it just, for me, it wasn't about being pro-life or pro-abortion. It was more a lot of shame that was associated with it. So a lot of the angst, and what am I going to do? I have to help my family. What am I going to do? I'm just going into college. And so I really did have the support system and the support mechanism, but I didn't feel like I did. So many women go through that. This is, you're all living in your head, and you're figuring out that, hey, you're alone. And so I sat in that abortion clinic seat, and as they called out my name, I was having all of these emotions of, oh my goodness, this is wrong, but maybe I don't care. I need to do this for the greater good, and I'm just, I'm so ashamed, and I can't raise a baby with all of the responsibilities that I had. And I stood up, and had I turned left, I would have gone to, I would have had an abortion in a matter of minutes. But God pulled me out, and so I turned right, and my baby is now 32 years old. And um, in reflection, I started to think about um, you know, how all of these women feel like they don't have any choices, and they don't have any help. Um, but for a very, very long time, I sort of compartmentalized everything that went on inside me and said, okay, I'm going to take a deep breath, and I'm just going to do this,
I'm just
and
going to handle it.
I'm just going to handle it. I'm going to put my hair up in a bun, and I'm just going to go for it. I'm going to handle this. Um, and so for me, it was a time for me to just take the responsibility. And so I did that. Little did I know that God's plan for me was so much bigger than my little mind could ever imagine. Um, I did go home, and I told my mother. She didn't love it so much. And then I told my grandmother, who then said, "Why the tears?" She said, "The babies are a beautiful thing." She said, "And it's God's timing. And so we'll do this, and we'll do this together." And so I, yes, it was hard, but my goodness, it was so well worth it. And so many women say that. So many women say that. And so here we are, fast forward my life, and I'm working in marketing, and I'm just doing my own thing, but so completely empty. Just thinking, okay, well, obviously this is the career for me, but what am I doing? How am I fulfilling my life? Um, so I was actually at a conference where I was speaking about digital marketing, and a pro-life organization actually approached me, and I still believe that it was um, a divine conversation, because it's such a polarizing topic. I wasn't talking about being pro-life, yet they felt comfortable coming to me and saying, "Hey, so I really think that you could help us." So it was. I mean, I just really believe that obedience was always in front of me, and God met me in that place and utilized everyone to come to that place where I had to look obedience straight in the face and say, "Wow." Um, and the meeting that I had shortly after that meeting that I had with the pro life organization, um, as I was standing up and leaving, we had a really great new business meeting, and I thought, okay, this is good. This is my, I was meant to be sitting here. And he looked at me and he said, "But Nellie, what's your story?" And at that moment, there was just so clear that I had been playing the character of Jonah all of these years. So,
Wow.
um,
Even after choosing life, you still felt like there was kind of almost like a turning away
yeah,
from
yeah,
who you were, from who God had made you to be.
yes, yes.
Wow.
Um, in reflection, I start to think about how God pursued me in all of those areas of my life. When it was hard, I I just gritted my teeth and just kept going. And now I go look back and I think about how I was so busy, but my little 3-year-old wanted to go to church. And I said, "Wow, okay. I mean, how do you say no to that?" You know? And so he brought me back to Christ. And this little baby that was inside me that could have been demised actually brought me back to Christ. And you just go through life, and then you, at some point in that moment, when he asked me what my story was, it was like this rush of just, and you went through this and you went through this, and here I was, and I was with you. And so it was an incredibly powerful meeting.
Those are such marking moments in
Yeah,
our lives that we look back on. And I think when you realize the significance of your story and that it wasn't by accident, that there was divine appointments and that God was working the whole time, and you can see that thread. And in those moments, it's like, oh, okay, I
yes.
I am walking on a track that, for one, the Lord knew, and I'm here at a place now that is intentional, and that the Lord has a plan. So you're sitting in this conference, you have this conversation. This gentleman says, "Hey, we're trying to do work around marketing as it relates to the pro-life movement, and you're already working in the field of marketing. So then how does this concept for Choose Life marketing get birthed from that?"
So as I was, I was in that meeting that, as you had indicated, a divine appointment, and I was telling my story, um, and it was not cohesive at all, because I I had not said it out loud. That was the
Wow.
first time that I said it out loud, and I could actually hear it.
And how many years was that from the time you chose life to telling that story for the first time in
It was
public?
25 years.
Wow. So you
Yes.
kept that for 25 years, the fact that you had almost aborted your son.
Yes.
Only family members
Yes.
knew?
Only family member, only my mother and but my grandmother never knew. I
Oh,
couldn't tell
wow.
her. But my mother knew. And so that she was the only one, and she kept it. And by the way, my mother was one of the best grandmothers ever. Even though she was not happy with me, the birth of her first grandchild was an amazing experience for her. Um, but yes, I mean, I like, to at that moment, I walked away thinking, I have to repent that I have been pursued and I have ignored it and I have ran away from it. And so I did, and the first order of after getting on my knees and just praying and going in, I had to tell my son. And that was, I'm telling you, like, that was the hardest thing. And as I'm explaining this to him, again, not coherent or cohesive, just kind of, I had not heard myself talk about it. Um, he sat there and I said, "What do you think?" And he was 23 years old. I said, "What do you think?" And he said, I think I feel like I need to give back. And I also, and then he just kind of stopped and he looked at me and he said, "Thank you, Mom, for choosing life." So we were both just speechless. And I asked him for his forgiveness. I said, I have asked God for forgiveness for so many years. And he said, "And I think he's forgiven you. I forgive you." And so I said, "I am so sorry." And he said, "Mom, I'm just so thankful that you chose life for me. Thank you for choosing life." Um, and so uh, I already had a marketing company. It was doing very well. And we were doing work all over the state. And I was so, like I said, it was wild. We were very successful. And I called in my team and I said, after having the discussion with my son, and I had prayed over this, even called the first person who had asked me in that, in that conference room, what is your story? What's your story? I had been praying, and we get into this conference room, and I said, I want to open a division called Choose Life Marketing. And they both just looked at me and said, we're so confused. What problem are we trying to solve? And so 2.5 hours later, we were all in agreement that we needed to do something, that in response to all of the things that had happened, and that we had a responsibility. And so we did. I mean, we opened up Choose Life Marketing. It is a healing mechanism for me. It allows me to give back to God everything that He has given to me, and then some. We're just this little piece of of stories of like this universe that He has created. And every day I feel so completely humbled. So I walked away from there, started doing a lot of research on the pro-life movement in terms of marketing, and I realized that one of the things that was a gap was when you go to a marketing company, like a local marketing company, you don't know who's going to be accepting of your beliefs, and so it was very difficult for them to get everything that they needed to get done, and be able to outpour their hearts on what needs to happen and what their belief system was, in fear of being judged. And so, because it's such a polarizing. So what we did was, yep. So what we did was we created a marketing company that is 100% pro life. Everyone in our agency has been vetted to be 100% pro life, so that we understand the nuances, we understand the culture, what we're up against, and we also understand the ramifications of not performing with excellence. And so it has been a great journey. So yeah, we are a full service marketing agency. We have presence across the nation, and also we have clients in Thailand, Taiwan, and several other countries that had reached out to us, and said, hey, I think we need help in these areas as well. So yeah, I mean, it's just one step at a time in God's will, and obedience towards the life that He created for me. So.
And who are the clients that you all are serving? Are you specifically doing marketing for pro-life centers, or for any organization that also just maybe happens to, at the end of the day, have pro-life leadership or be somehow connected with the pro-life movement?
So very good question. We serve hundreds of pregnancy resource centers across the United States. And so we do marketing to reach more abortion-minded women. Our tagline is "Reach Her." So we help the frontline workers of our movement, which are the PRCs, make sure that they can reach her first, so that she can sit in a pregnancy resource center lobby and not at an abortion clinic lobby like I did. So that's who we serve. But we also opened up a new division of Choose Life Marketing. It's called Cogency Strategic. And Cogency Strategic fights ballot initiatives that are pro-abortion. So the whole agency, all we do is work in the pro-life sector. We do not do, we don't fight road taxes. We don't fight, we don't run campaigns, political campaigns that for political positions. We just don't do that. What we do is fight for the families. So everything that that Cogency Strategic, that team just, they go from state to state, and helping organizations fight the battle. That was created recently specifically to address the '07, the us just not winning any of the states, the seven states, the most recent Ohio in 2023. So I mean, it's been an incredible journey. I think that God has blessed our path in the way that we're working. We are currently working in Florida with their Say No to Amendment 4. We are also working in Nebraska. We're working in Minnesota. And just these battle state grounds, as well as the ones that are being um, that are facing these ballot initiatives come November.
Yeah, so strategic. Well, I'm thinking about Planned Parenthood, and I'm thinking about their marketing and how recognizable their branding is, because they have been so strategic about putting themselves out there, and down to Google algorithms. When Google pregnant in need of help, that whatever the first 1, 2, 3 searches that pop up, in all likelihood, that's where that woman is heading. What are some of just the primary tools that you all provide to those pregnancy centers, whether it's billboards or playing with that Google algorithm? Like how does that marketing play out practically for, let's say, a pregnancy center in the middle of Oklahoma or Missouri or New Hampshire that contacts you guys and is like, hey, we need help?
Oh, that is really good, really great question. So we are a full service marketing agency, and so which means that we do things from graphic design all the way to Google, all the way to search engine optimization. So we have the gamut of the services that a marketing agency would do, and so it's dependent upon where they are located. Let's say people of a center that is in Minneapolis is going to be treated very differently in terms of the type of tactics to create strategies for their marketing. Let's say middle of Missouri. So because they're an urban area, their population is larger. There are different tactics that we create strategies for. So we also do programmatic. There are pockets of places here in the United States, or locations here in the United States, that is really difficult for pregnancy centers to reach her first, because it's so bombarded with the abortion clinics and the abortion pill, those online um, providers that are fighting with abortion clinics, because they're competing now, and oftentimes the pregnancy center gets caught in the middle of these bidding wars. So we have to be incredibly strategic in the way that we serve each center. We have to see them as who they are, as opposed to this large group that we're going to do the same things over and over for. As you often, like, we have a bag of tools, and we need to figure out what the problem is, and then pick the different tools that we need to create the strategy. It's just so we do love our pregnancy centers so much, but they are different in many ways. They are, but there's a lot more pregnancy centers than there are abortion clinics, and we have to remember that. And so we are, I mean, like, we are by numbers, can really do well if we were cohesive and that we do things strategic. Yes, the other side is very sophisticated, and they also have a lot of money. So we have to lean in on strategies that are effective for each of those centers in a way that sees them as individuals, and then still collaborate as a movement. So
It's awesome. Nellie, for anyone listening who's thinking, oh man, I would love to pull on the resources of Choose Life Marketing or just learn more, how can they do that?
You could go to our website, chooselifemarketing.com. You could also send us an email at info@chooselifemarketing.com. It is a pleasure to be able to have a conversation with whomever would like to know more about us and also would like to learn more about the services that we can offer.
Awesome. Nellie, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for your willingness to share your story. It's just absolutely incredible to see what the Lord has done in your life and all the fruit that He is bringing from your story, from your son's story. It's
Yeah.
really beautiful. So thank you.
Thank you so much. God is so good. Thank you.
Amen. Thank you.